Black Fox business host suspended over sexual harassment claim. Is this equal opportunity misogyny? Fox Business Network, whose sister network Fox News has been accused of being a festering cesspool of sexual misconduct, has suspended one of its team over just that. Charles Payne, host of Making Money on Fox Business Network, and one of a few African-American hosts there, has been suspended amid sexual harassment claims made against him by former Fox analyst Scottie Nell Hughes, according to the Huffington Post. Payne said that he had a romantic relationship with a political analyst for about 3 years, and Hughes concedes that there was some sort of romantic tryst, but denies having any sexual contact with Payne, and claims that she stayed in a relationship with him because she thought that it would benefit her career. The Griot reports that Hughes says that she was booted from Fox once she broke it off and tried to report him to Fox executives, including Bill Shine, who had his own sexual misconduct scandal. She says that after reporting Payne, her appearances on the network were cut until she resigned on May 1. Yet HuffPo reports that Hughes was let go because of constant on-air gaffes such as calling a Molotov cocktail a Muzzle-Tov cocktail. Hughes, a virulent Donald Trump supporter, was married during the affair, and her husband and children lived in Nashville while she worked at Fox in New York. Payne was married as well. HuffPo reports that Hughes recently joined the pro-Trump PAC, the Committee to Defend the President, as a national spokesman. "We take issues of this nature extremely seriously and have a zero-tolerance policy for any professional misconduct," a Fox recent black college grad beaten to death in Greece. The recent African-American college grad from Austin, Texas, was beaten to death on Friday by a group of 10 men while visiting the Greek island of Zakynthos. Bakary Henderson, 22, was at a bar with his friends when a man approached him and they began fighting. Security asked the men to leave and the brawl spilled into the streets, where Henderson was reportedly surrounded by 10 people, including 2 bar employees. The Washington Post reports that surveillance videos from nearby shops showed the suspects beating Henderson even after he was unconscious. He later died at a hospital. 8 people have been arrested, including 6 Serbian tourists and at least 1 Greek man. Greek police in Zakynthos notified the U.S. Embassy of the death of a U.S. citizen in the early morning hours of Friday, the State Department said in a statement. CNN reports that Henderson recently graduated from the University of Arizona with a bachelor's degree in business finance and entrepreneurship. A statement from his parents said he attended the school on a full academic scholarship. "As you can imagine, our family is devastated by the recent loss of our beloved son Bakary Ward Henderson," his family said in the statement. Bakary loved spending time with family and friends, traveling, and meeting new people. He was a big thinker and enjoyed coming up with new business ventures. Bakary was an inspiration to all he met. He loved life and lived it to the fullest. Henderson was reportedly in Greece working on a photo shoot to launch a new clothing line. Is Wyclef Jean really unsung? There's more to his story than you know. For 90s hip-hop heads, Wyclef Jean will always be known as one-third of the legendary group The Fugues. And anyone paying attention over the last few decades probably thinks he or she knows everything about Jean, how he became a sought-after producer, his near-presidential run in his home country, and his starring role in a love triangle. But as the premiere of the new season of TV One's Unsung shows, there's more to learn, particularly about his upbringing and his roller coaster personal journey. This is the first time Jean has been featured in a documentary about his life, and it is revealing of how far he's come, from literally eating the red clay dirt in Haiti to immigrating to America at 10 years of age and living in the projects in Brooklyn, where he felt rich in comparison with the village he grew up in, to his eventual success as a rapper, producer, actor and social activist. "You go from working in Burger King to being able to buy a mansion. I don't care who you are. It's going to change you," Jean told The Root. "There's drugs, drinking, sex, the entourages are getting bigger. I always thought about my dad and mom. One little slip and you get deported back to the island. Faith plays an important part, and the fear of God. You know, in a split second he can take it all back." Born to deeply religious parents, Jean and his 5 siblings weren't allowed to listen to secular music. But he figured out a way around that by adapting songs from the radio for the band at church. It's a tactic he would use in much of his production work later, changing traditional R&B songs into harder-edged hip-hop cuts. "As a producer, I'm always thinking, The first thing I was producing was the choir in church. You're always trying to funk it up every Sunday, Gene said. It could be a song you know and you're like, how am I gonna put a spin to this? One Christmas, his father bought him and his siblings Muppet instruments, an idea born from one of the few programs, The Muppet Show, that Gene and his siblings were allowed to watch. Gene learned how to play several of the instruments by ear. I was playing piano in my school, and my teacher was like, where did you learn to play these chords? I said, in my head. Gene remembered. She asked me if I had ever heard of Thelonious Monk. I was like, is that somebody from a karate picture? That teacher helped get him into a jazz school, which changed his life. He combined his street background with music theory and improvisation. It would help him later in producing in a variety of genres, from Latin to reggae, rock and hip-hop. When the family moved to New Jersey, he started a hip-hop group, the Translator Crew, in high school with Marcy Harrell, who left the group and later became a Broadway actress, and Lauryn Hill and PRAs, which they later renamed the Fugues, short for Refugees. His parents' displeasure at his choice of music continued. Gene's father insisted that he couldn't serve two masters. It's either God or the devil, he told him, and the music he was doing wasn't God's music. His father kicked him out of the house, and the group formed a studio in the basement at his cousin's house. The group created and shopped their demo with the help of a member of Kool and the Gang, and the only label that didn't reject them was Rough House Records. The Fugues' 1994 debut album, Blunted Reality, was a critical hit, but it didn't do well commercially, selling only 12,000 copies. As the group was recording its smash sophomore album, The Score, Gene was sleeping with his then-fiancée, Marie-Claudine Pierre Jean, and with Lauryn Hill, an affair that continued after he married Marie-Claudine. On Unsung, Rough House label co-owner Charles Schwartz, along with other Fugees members, blamed the group's eventual breakup on their acrimonious relationship that emerged from the affair. Both Hill and PRAs declined to be featured in the episode. Gene and Hill continued their solo careers. Gene would release 11 studio albums and produce and write for heavyweights like Beyonce, Shakira and Carlos Santana. Throughout his success, Gene's parents were not happy with his choice of music. He did say he was proud of me, Gene said of his father. And proud that I made something of myself. They were the ones that had to knit things in a factory until their hands bled. They're the ones that had to pick up the welfare check and try to give you a way to survive. The greatest thing I got to do before my dad's eyes closed was to tell my parents, thank you. Gene is still in the game with a new album, Carnival Volume II, The Rise and Fall of a Refugee, due out in September. For his Unsung debut, he hopes that people feel that they can do what he did. I want the person who feels like they're so average to feel like, holy crap. I want them to feel inspired.